So, let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's not just science fiction anymore. It is here and it's popping up in some really interesting places, like our libraries and archives. Today, we're going to dig into this massive technological shift, separating the hype from what's actually happening on the ground. We'll look at the promise, the perils, and the very real human story of AI's arrival in the library.
And honestly, this quote just nails it. It perfectly captures the wild balancing act that librarians are doing every single day. Think about it. One minute, they're teaching someone basic computer skills, and the next, they're navigating the super complex world of AI. They really are the bridge between yesterday and tomorrow, and that's the core of what we're exploring.
All right, so what's all the buzz about? Let's start with the exciting part, the promise of AI. We're talking about the vision of a library that's way more efficient, super responsive, and just more capable than ever before. And of course, the big one, saving a whole lot of money.
Now, check this out, because we're not talking about some far-off dream here. This is real, measurable impact happening right now. OCLC's WorldShare automation is already saving libraries over $150 million a year. And get this, that's just for buying new content. It's a massive number that really shows you the kind of efficiency we're talking about.
And it's not just about saving money behind the scenes. Take a look at the University of Calgary. They've got this chatbot, they call it T-Rex, and it's already handling half of all the questions that users ask. 50%. That frees up the human staff to work on the trickier, more in-depth research that people need help with.
And the hits keep on coming. Over at Overdrive's Libby app, their AI has dealt with hundreds of millions of user questions since 2019. The result? A 30% drop in support tickets that a person has to answer. It's a perfect example of how AI can streamline things on a huge scale.
Okay, so the promise is pretty clear. Huge savings, incredible efficiency, sounds great, right? But what happens when all that hype slams into the cold, hard reality of running a public institution? Let's flip the coin and talk about the real-world headaches that come with all this powerful new tech. This chart tells such an interesting story. Just a year ago, the biggest thing holding libraries back from adopting AI was a lack of expertise. But today? Nope, it's the budget. That's jumped to the #1 concern. And for public libraries, privacy and security are an even bigger worry. The whole conversation has shifted from how do we do this to how on earth can we afford this?
And this is exactly why that budget concern is so real. While we're hearing about AI saving millions, major library systems are facing absolutely brutal cuts. We're talking about New York City, Ohio, Missouri. These are not small changes. There's this huge disconnect between the money you need to invest in future tech and the financial reality of today.
And it's not just about the money, it's also about time. Putting in a major new AI system isn't like downloading an app on your phone. As you can see here, you're looking at a 2 to 4 year journey from start to finish. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's a timeline that organizations almost always underestimate. But okay, let's move beyond the budgets and the timelines. There's maybe the most important piece of this whole puzzle, the people. How are the librarians and staff on the front lines actually feeling about this AI revolution that's knocking on their door? This quote from Mike Kamik really puts it all into perspective. The fear of being replaced by technology, well, it's totally real, but it's nothing new. Librarians felt this way about Google, they felt it about Wikipedia, and now they're feeling it with AI. The big question is whether this time will be different. Now, this right here shows a really critical gap. While 43% of senior staff feel pretty good about their understanding of AI, only 36% of junior librarians feel the same way. And those are the people who are actually going to have to use this stuff. This gap between the people making the decisions and the people doing the work, that could be a huge roadblock. So, is there another way to do this? A way that focuses on making things better, not just replacing people? Well, it turns out there is. The Pima County Public Library in Arizona did something absolutely brilliant. Instead of some generic chatbot, they created this team of personal reading assistants. Fun, genre-specific characters that you can actually ask for book recommendations.
And here's the genius part. Frankie Stein and KidCat, they're not actually AI. They're just clever personas for the real human librarians who use this whole system to build stronger, more personal connections with their community. It's the perfect example of using technology as a bridge to bring people together, not as a wall to keep them apart.
These challenges, the funding, the skills, the ethics, they're not just happening in one place. We need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this is a conversation that's happening all over the world.
It's really fascinating. Whether you're looking at studies from Pakistan or China, the story's pretty much the same. Around the world, the same problems keep popping up. Not enough money, not the right infrastructure, and a major gap in skills. This is a shared global challenge for every library out there.
And the situation in Zimbabwe really drives home the issue of equity. For so many institutions in developing countries, AI adoption isn't just slow, it's barely even started. The high costs and the need for infrastructure could end up creating an even wider gap between the technological haves and have-nots.
And of course, underneath all this talk about budgets and tech is the giant looming question of ethics. How do we protect people's data? Can we trust these algorithms? What happens when a machine can create misinformation on a massive scale? These are the questions keeping library leaders up at night. And right now, most of them are trying to navigate this new world without a map, which is a very risky place to be.
So after all that, where does this leave us? We've seen the incredible potential, but we've also seen the really daunting challenges. So what is it? Is AI a tool that's going to empower our libraries, or is it a threat that's going to undermine them?
First, just a quick clarification. When we say AI, think of it like a big umbrella. The tech that's really making waves today, like what we've been talking about, is usually a type of machine learning. Basically, instead of writing code for every single rule, we train the computer by showing it tons of data. So it's not some single magic bullet, but a really powerful set of tools.
So, here's the most important point, the real takeaway. The conversation is no longer about jobs being replaced. It's about jobs evolving. The consensus is really shifting toward a future where AI handles all the routine, tedious stuff, which frees up librarians to focus on the more strategic, creative, and community-focused work that only a human can do.
And this quote from John Sandstrom really just brings it all home. AI isn't the first powerful tool librarians have had to master, and it definitely won't be the last. The heart of the job, the critical thinking, the curiosity, the desire to connect people with knowledge, that stuff doesn't change. AI is just the newest instrument in the toolkit.
Which leaves us with this final, really critical question. The technology itself isn't good or bad. Its impact is going to be determined by the choices we make, the values we program into it, the problems we decide to solve, and the kind of future we want to build. So, if AI is just a tool, what will we choose to build?